we have an update on the story that we did on Marissa Alexander from Florida. Now, Marissa Alexander is a woman who had an abusive husband, and apparently when they were going through a violent period, she ran into the garage. She wanted to scare him away, so she grabbed the gun and she literally shot the ceiling to scare him away. Well, it worked, except now she's been prosecuted, and as a result of Florida's laws, she will be serving 20 years in prison for it.
So, if you shoot a guy dead in Florida, well, you stood your ground. If you are merciful and make the mistake of just shooting the ceiling, 20 years.
So let me give you more detail in this story. The prosecutor, which is Angela Corey, the same person who's prosecuting George Zimmerman, said that the reason why she has been found guilty by the jury, which deliberated for about 12 minutes, by the way.
Oh, well, at least they took their time.
Yeah, is because a few months after the incident, she went back to her husband's home and said that she wanted an end to their marriage, right? Which makes a lot of sense. Well, the prosecutor argued that since she went back to her home, it shows that she was never really in imminent danger. She wasn't really fearing for her life, and as a result, she had no right to grab that gun and shoot the ceiling.
Yes.
So as a result, she is not protected under the state's stand your ground law.
All right, the 4-month argument is asinine, and it drives me crazy that it worked, at least in convincing the jury. So once a kid pulled a knife on me, in fact, twice in high school, I got a knife pulled on me. 4 months later, I saw the same kid in high school. We went to high school together. So what was I supposed to do, run away every single time, be like, oh my God, no. At the time, he'd pulled a knife on me. This time, we met in the hallway and he didn't. It's ridiculous to say that 4 months later, if you go see the same person who you have a child with, that shows that you were not in danger 4 months earlier. I can't believe they believe that.
I can't believe that she didn't harm anyone. She was charged with aggravated assault, and she's going to serve a mandatory 20 years in prison as a result of this. It's ridiculous.
Okay, now look, a couple of things there. So Angela Corey is not being hypocritical on this, because remember, she's prosecuting Zimmerman. She's saying that his stand your ground defense does not have merit. She's saying in this case, the stand your ground defense does not have merit. Okay, so understand that. Okay, now having said that, the number of so-called justifiable homicides since stand your ground was passed in Florida has tripled, meaning the number of people being let off for stand your ground has tripled. In the cases where they actually shoot people dead, right? So it's not just the Trayvon Martin story, it's happening all over Florida, and people are literally getting away with murder because of stand your ground. But the one time someone's actually not murdered, she fires a warning shot, and she gets 20 years. Now that double standard is what's disturbing.
Her lawyers had asked for an appeal. However, the judge denied that appeal. And during her sentencing, Representative Corrine Brown was talking to Angela Corey, and the discussion got a little heated. We have the video, so let's watch.
My feeling is that your office initially overcharged her in this case. This is my feeling. This is my feeling. But we can't try it here.
Yes, ma'am. That's why we're asking that it not be tried now, and that if the facts are going to be put out, and I told Mr. Lincoln Alexander I wanted to sit down with him, you can't tell people. I understand. Listen, madam.
There is no justification for 20 years.
I agree with her. No justification for the 20 years. She didn't harm anyone. She didn't do anything wrong. Her husband had a record for domestic violence. He'd been arrested twice for domestic violence. So it's not like she was making up the fact that her husband was intending on hurting her.
Yeah, you know, I'm a little more conflicted on that. I don't want people grabbing guns and shooting at the sailor, right? So I think she did do something wrong. I think that if they were consistent in how they, handed out the punishment, I'd feel a lot more comfortable about it. Do I think 20 years is too much? Absolutely. Right?
I disagree with you completely on that, because she was in a situation where he was saying that he was going to kill her. He was coming after her. She was running away from him, and she grabbed that gun in self-defense. And rather than shooting him, she shot the ceiling to get him to run off. Basically not hurt her. So I don't think she did anything wrong in this case whatsoever.
Yeah, and to be clear, the husband at a later date said, I was going to put my hands on her. Okay, he admitted that. He changed the story many times, but at one point he clearly said that. So she was right in being incredibly worried about the imminent danger that she was in. Now, all I'm saying is that you can have an argument and a debate as to whether she should have defended herself in that way or in other ways. Was she putting other people in danger by firing into the ceiling, etc.? I don't think you can have an argument that it has been fairly distributed, the punishment in Florida in regards to stand your ground. And I don't think you can really have an argument that she deserves 20 years.
Right.
I think you could have an argument on whether she deserves any time.